Yeomi Park is her name, the North Korean defector. She says, I've seen oppression. I know what it looks like. She said, these kids, Colombia, keep saying that they're oppressed. How much injustice have they experienced? They don't know how hard it is to be free, she said. I literally crossed through the middle of the Gobi Desert to be free. But what I did was nothing. So many people fought harder than me and didn't make it. She said she and her mother fled North Korea in 2007 when she was 13. After crossing into China over a frozen Yalu River, they fell into the hands of human traffickers who sold them into slavery. Yeomi for less than $300 and her mom for roughly $100. With the help of Christian missionaries, the pair managed to flee to Mongolia, walking across the Gobi Desert to eventually find refuge in South Korea. She published her memoir in 2015 called In Order to Live, where she described what it took to survive in one of the world's most brutal dictatorships and her journey to freedom. So now she's in Colombia. And she says she's struck by what she thought was anti-Western sentiment in the classroom and the focus on political correctness. She said, quote, even North Korea isn't this nuts. I'm quoting her. I expected that I was paying this fortune, all this time and energy to learn how to think. But they are forcing you to think the way they want you to think. I realized, wow, this is insane. I thought America was different. But I saw so many similarities to what I saw in North Korea that I started worrying. She told the New York Post, she couldn't believe that she'd be asked to do this much censoring of myself. Quote, I literally crossed the Gobi Desert to be free, and I realized I'm not free. America's not free. Going to Colombia, the first thing I learned, she said, was the term safe space. Every problem they explained to us, she said, was because of white men. Some of the discussions of white privilege reminded her of the caste system in her native country where people were categorized based on their ancestors. One class, she said, a teacher discussing Western civilization asked students if they had a problem with the name of the topic. Most students raised their hand. Some, she said, mentioned they had issues with the word colonial. She said classes in Colombia began with professors asking students for their preferred pronouns, with the use of they becoming scary as she feared being socially penalized because she said English is my third language. It's very hard for me to say he and she, and sometimes I misuse them, and now I got to get used to they? She also said she was chided for saying she enjoyed the writings of Jane Austen. Quote, I said I love those books. I thought it was a good thing. Then she said, do you know these writers had a colonial mindset? They were racist and bigots and are subconsciously brainwashing you? She said, in North Korea, students were constantly informed about the American bastard. They always called Americans American bastards. Quote, I thought North Koreans were the only people who hated Americans, but it turns out there are a lot of people hating this country in this country. Voluntarily, these people are censoring each other, silencing each other, no force behind it. Other times in history, there's a military coup d'etat, like a force coming in to take your rights away. But this country is choosing to be silenced, choosing to give their own rights away. North Korea was pretty insane. Like the first thing my mom taught me was don't even whisper. The birds and mice could hear me. She told me the most dangerous thing I had in my body was my tongue. So I know how dangerous it was to say wrong things in a country. But this is completely nuts. This is unbelievable. I don't know why people are collectively going crazy like this or together at the same time. She said this is what happens when you are brainwashed. Columbia University did not respond to the New York Post request for a comment. This is what's going on in academia. And did I mention that Columbia is the college that Barack Obama graduated from? I was struck, she said, by the anti-American attitude within the country. I'm paying all this money, all this time, she said, all this energy to learn how to think, but they are forcing you to think the way they want you to think. I realized, wow, this is insane. I thought America was different, but I saw so many similarities to what I saw in North Korea that I started worrying, end of quote.